Hello, beautiful people of the planet Earth. How are you doing? I hope you had a fabulous weekend, and I hope the week that's coming is going to be a good one. We're finally here. 23 episodes into the season. It's the second last episode of season 3. I am feeling all types of feelings. I'm just like, we've come such a long way. I am so proud of me, first of all, for consistent content. 23 weeks. And also I am so happy and I am so grateful to everyone who's been plugged in every single Monday for the past 6 months. It's been crazy. The support, Anyway, we probably should do this speech for episode 24, but I just feel overwhelmed. I honestly feel overwhelmed, and I must share gratitude with everyone who has been listening in, everyone who's been contributing, everyone who has sent a story, everyone who has called, sent a voice note, sent a text message, sent a DM, sent an email to just say thank you. Because this is a space where we can finally relate. This is a space where we love to be. This is a space where we found other people who live lives like us. My heart is so full. My heart is so full, you have no idea. But anyway, before we get into the sentimental bits of all of this, please remember that there are partnership opportunities on this podcast, so you can contact me. All my contact details are in the description. And as you know, I do put out my prompts every Thursday. You have one last prompt to go this coming Thursday before we take a break and then come back for season 4. But I do put out my prompts every Thursday mid-morning so that you can get to see what topic we're talking about. You can contribute, and we can also share in the comments, because there's always people talking in the comments and just people sharing. It's always a good time, quite a vibe here. And with that said, I've told you all those things and you still don't know what podcast you're on. Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is Olive Orao, and I asked you, jealousy should be normal in friendships, right? This is the most conflicting prompt I've ever had. Like, there's so many answers that are not the same. There are people who are saying no, there are people who are saying yes. Usually when there's a prompt, I find an overwhelming response supporting a particular side. Hey, that bike. Woo! Did they just buy an exhaust or they bought a bike? But anyway, so there's usually an overwhelming support for one side and not the other. But this one, it was literally torn into two. There were people who were saying, no, jealousy is not normal. There are people who were saying jealousy is quite normal. There are people who were saying, oh, it's what you do with the jealousy. Anyway, it's all mixed up. I find it to be the most diverse of answers I've ever gotten on this particular prompt. But anyway, for those watching on YouTube, if you're wondering why my face is so beat, why I'm looking like the world is ending, they've blown the trumpets and we didn't know, you're supposed to get into heaven looking like proper hotness. No, it's because I was in another shoot earlier. I've literally not changed. I just got home and got onto this one. Because see, you guys are waiting for an episode on Monday. Did I get that wrong? Some of you listen to the episode going to work in the morning. Yo, I don't sleep here. You are because, no, it's I am because you are. I am because you are. Yes. I've been because you've always been. I'm so grateful. Anyway, let's get into the direct responses that I got on my DM. On my direct prompt. And is jealousy in friendships normal? Hey. Someone said it is, and they're laughing. I sort of agree. But let's get into the more diverse answers. Someone says, this needs to be a full DM, please. I don't know if your DM is in the ones that I'm going to read a bit later, but I did get some DMs and I am happy to have gotten them. Someone else says, yes, it is, and healthy if it's not the competitive and sabotage kind. Yes, I actually agree with this. But again, this is one of those topics, again, I'll bring it up in season 4 again, because the way I've realized there's quite a diverse there's a diverse contribution to answers, that it's not overwhelmingly supporting one side. I think I'll bring it on again with a couple of other people so that we just get to listen to the entire spectrum of what people think about jealousy in friendships. Yes, it is healthy, but it's not the competitive and the sabotage type. Competitive and sabotage is not good for anything, whether it's the workplace, whether it's family, whether it's friendship. So of course, when jealousy gets to sabotage, when it gets to malice, it stops being jealousy now. I don't know what it becomes. Anyway, maybe that's the feeling of jealousy. Someone else says, currently jealous of all friends and high school mates. Wako successful, niko kwa bed sitter. Let me tell you what prompts this feeling. It's usually when you start to compare. The minute you start looking at how much other people have achieved, I swear to you, you could have everything in this world and you will still not feel like you have enough. And also, this might lead to you being a shitty person once you get to having it. At that point, when you break through and you now become the person who has it, the feeling like this might make you a shitty person then, because you'll start treating other people in a funny way. But this one, I have a solution because I've been there. Do not compare. And I've said this in a previous episode. My mom always says, if there's something this girl has that I admire, is content. She's content with what she has. And I think that has gotten me through so many phases in my life. It didn't matter whether I was living in a bedsitter outside an estate that had mansions only. That was none of my business. The bedsitter was mine, and that was enough for me to be proud of it. So if you can, and if you are intentional, get out of the space of comparing. Just exist in your own space where, I'm not saying don't be ambitious. You still dream, you still work towards your dreams, but just understand there's a timeline for you, and that timeline will work best if you are fully like absorbed into it. So it's easy to just tell someone don't compare. The action itself, the like putting in the work and just making sure that you remind yourself that you're on your own timeline. Everyone has their own race. You're on your own timeline. That really, really helps. There's another example people like to use, and I don't like using it. I will never, because it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. People will tell you things like, because I remember at the time when I was feeling, oh my goodness, I'm not making it, The consolation that people used to give me is, those people who have money or those people you think have made it, you don't know the struggles they have. Even them, they have other struggles. You'll find even they have more struggles than you. So it felt like we always try to look for a negative thing to attach to that person who we think is making it just to help us cope, which makes no sense for me. That was not a consolation. I don't think that should be a consolation. You'll never find me telling you, because you're lagging behind on something, I'm going to tell you, even that first one, the one who's before you, that one is suffering through this and that. No, we don't use that backhandedness here. Just know there are people who will make it before you. There are people who will always make it more than you. There are people who just know and make peace with it. Just know there's someone who'll always have more than you, and make peace with it. And in this space where you're in, be grateful, but work for what you're ambitious towards. But let me not go into preaching. But I'm wishing you love and light, and I hope you get into that space where you feel a bit, you feel content. Because that's the only thing I can wish upon you. Once you're content, it's such a peaceful space to live, and you'll find yourself working at your own pace and being fulfilled by the little things that you already have. Someone else says, no, there shouldn't be jealousy. So there are people who came out and just said blatantly, no, jealousy cannot exist. If it's a friendship, these two cannot coexist. I understand. I actually understand. Can you be jealous of your friend? Once I started seeing this, I started thinking, okay, maybe jealousy is not, maybe if you feel jealous about someone, you're not necessarily their friend. I'd like to know. I'd like to know if you felt jealous of someone who's genuinely your friend. I don't know. Yeah? Maybe we should have started with the definition of jealousy. That could have helped. Isn't it like desiring, wanting, feeling bad for what your other friend has achieved? That is my definition. But anyway, no, it shouldn't be. This person disagrees completely. Jealousy cannot exist in friendships. Someone else says, right. It's just an emotion like sadness or happiness. What you do with it, however, is what makes it. And then I think the character limit cut you off. But yes, I agree with you. I feel like we've demonized jealousy so much, but in real sense, isn't jealousy just a feeling like any other? Are you supposed to be sad? Are you supposed to be angry? Are you supposed to be... There's these negative emotions that we all experience that we are not supposed to be. But why would they exist if they're not human? It is for you to now act upon it and see whether you'll react negatively or positively, right? And one of the reactions that we need to understand is that even withdrawing yourself from that space that makes you feel negative is a positive reaction. You just knowing, I honestly, in my heart of hearts, it's difficult to be there celebrating my friend like this when I'm feeling like this, because I'm not genuinely happy for them. I'm feeling like, what is it they did that I did not do? You know, when you feel like you're not winning and your friends are winning, it's okay to remove yourself from that space, because it's not healthy for you or for them. For them, you're downing their light. You're pooping on their party. For you, you're dealing with a lot of aggressive emotion at that point. So it's also okay to step back and just be like, I won't interact with this situation for now. And it's okay for people to say, Olive was not even happy for me. It's okay. I genuinely was not feeling like I could share in your joy at that point. And what I did was step away instead of coming and starting to make subtle remarks, instead of coming and starting to gossip about you, instead of coming and trying to find out what can I use as ammunition for you. I feel like it would be good to just remove myself from that space so that I'm not feeling bad. And also I don't spoil your wins for you. So yeah. I think this is the one I agree with most. Someone else said witchcraft. Sasa. Let me not laugh, because there has been the incident of, you remember the girl who stole Sidri, her friend's nyota? Apparently you can steal someone's luck. I don't know. Witchcraft is something that has been difficult to wrap around my head. Probably it will take me a bit more time to invest, just researching, learning about it, taking interest in it. Maybe then I could know a bit more about witchcraft. But hey, you've said it's witchcraft. Someone else says challenged, yes. Jealousy, no. So something your friend achieved, you felt like, even me, I can. Jealousy, you've never felt that. Okay, that's healthy. That's healthy enough, because I've also had stories of people who say that they were actually inspired or they were motivated by their friend because their friend won something or their friend got something. So they drew inspiration from that, which is not necessarily jealousy. You just felt like, hey, Nania, hey, okay, even me. So anyway, maybe that is it. Maybe it's not jealousy per se, right? So I'll remind you the prompt was, is jealousy in friendships normal? Or rather, jealousy in friendships is normal, isn't it? Right? It is supposed to be normal. Someone else says, no, that's like toxic because love is not jealous. Hey. There's a lot of things love is not supposed to be, but love still is, right? So, why I find myself probably a little, I find myself disagreeing with these ones who say jealousy cannot exist, is because jealousy is a normal feeling. We're treating it as this demonic thing that does not, like no one has ever felt it. Someone has felt jealous at some point in their life. And let me tell you, it doesn't even need to be because your friend is making it. You find, have you seen these people who genuinely have everything? You look at them and they genuinely have everything you could ever want, but they still could be jealous of someone else. So I feel like jealousy is not a feeling that you can control and put this aside, this I don't want to feel, this I want to feel. At some point, it will be triggered. I feel like what you do while triggered at the point of jealousy is really, really what matters. But yeah, you say it's being toxic. Jealous is being toxic. It could also, I can see where you're coming from with that. Because if also, yes, nimeona, I see where you're coming from with that. Because I feel like even if I couldn't be there for my friend to be happy for her because I was going through a difficult time, it won't be outright jealousy. It will just be me, I'm not feeling like I have the energy to deal with this. And I don't know if that can be interpreted as jealousy, but anyway. Someone else says, hapana, that's frenemy. Okay, frenemy, you agree with the person before? Jealousy cannot exist. If it actually exists, that's someone who is your friend enemy. That's someone who's just like waiting to pounce. They're plotting. Someone else says, nope. You just said nope, no, with an exclamation mark. No, jealousy cannot exist. Someone else says, you can't get jealous of someone you like. It's usually someone who you have unresolved issues with, in my experience. What you do with that jealousy is what matters. You can ask yourself why you feel the way you feel. I feel like this was the most wholesome answer. Take a step back and ask yourself, 1, what is it you're feeling? 2, analyze why you're feeling like that. And 3, how you're going to deal with this feeling. So, and I felt like what they said, I'd have to be keen and like look through my experiences and see if honestly I have felt jealous of someone who was genuinely someone I liked, my own friend. Because looking at my experiences as well, I probably felt jealous of someone who was not a close friend of mine. I feel like every time I've seen my friend get something, I have felt happiness as if it were mine. So this one really resonated with me. I don't know if you can feel jealous for someone who you genuinely love. In your hearts of hearts, you genuinely love. Because I'm thinking, I've never felt jealous of my sisters. I've never felt jealous of the people who were close to me at that time when they were close to me. So I feel like this one brought it really home. Thank you for this one. Someone else says, nope, again, you abadan katan. Someone else says, it's very normal. Yeah, especially if you're in friend groups that the timeline starts to, let me tell you, I'll call other people to discuss this topic. Because I'm the kind of person who doesn't keep friends. So I'm never there long enough to see you win or lose. Nilishaenda, whatever I experienced with you as I went. But I feel like for other people who've grown up with the same people, maybe you've been growing up with this group of friends, you literally see their timelines as you go. You're starting at the same point, but you literally see us getting to a certain point and someone just gets a motorboat and they run. Someone gets an engine and they run. Someone gets, like everyone is, you can literally see the timelines for yourself. So I think it's really difficult for people who've grown probably together or people who've been together for a while because you're experiencing the growth of other people in real time. And if yours is not happening as fast, there's a possibility. There's a possibility of feeling some type of way. Someone else says, of course, which means it's normal. Yeah, I guess it's normal. Someone else says, it is, but what makes it bad is how it will affect you and how you act about what you are jealous of. Again, the same thing we've said. You could be feeling it, because we do agree now it's a normal feeling. You can't sit there and say, I'm not going to feel jealousy. It's like saying, I won't feel sad. I won't feel sad. I won't feel sad. I won't feel heartbroken. I won't feel happy. You can't control your emotions sometimes. Things trigger you. We are human. But you have to be in a space where you're very self-aware and you know, right now I'm feeling this and I need to figure out how I can self-soothe, or how I can soothe generally, or how I can get into a healthier space mentally than I am right now. So yes, I do agree with that one. Another one. Someone says, it's not right. Full stop. Period. Okay. These people who are saying it's not right, it can't be. You've never felt jealous for anything, for anyone, or like maybe it's friendships. Okay, maybe. Maybe. I'd need to know. I'd really need to hear this side of the story. Someone else says, no. You've put so many O's. It's like a cow mooing. A cow mooing. Yes. No. Okay, Sawa, we can't be jealous. You've refused. Someone else says, yes, I think so, but there's healthy jealousy and unhealthy jealousy, especially exactly what we are saying. You need to recognize I think the healthy one is where you recognize what you're feeling and then decide how to react to that feeling. And a lot of times react in a positive way, because there are people who decide to react maliciously. They're like, that thing that she has won, I'm going to sabotage so that I feel good about myself. Who do you think you are? Someone else says, yes, I think so, but there's healthy jealousy. Oh, sorry, that's the same thing. Someone else says, jealousy cannot exist in friendship. And someone else says, absolutely not. Maybe a little envy. Jealousy is competitive. So I think now here we're also playing with definitions. I thought envy is the same thing. I thought envious is just an old name for jealous. It's not. I literally thought it's the same thing, but I feel like envy can be used in a positive light. Usually people say, I envy you, which means I really wish I was getting what you're getting, or like, but I feel like recently I've had people use jealous as well. I'm so jealous. Isn't it used normally to just mean, oh my goodness, I wish I was you. I wish I was having that thing. I think it's a synonym. I think envy and jealous are synonyms. But who am I? Who am I? Who am I? You done sugar. Two people say, yeah, yes. So I guess jealousy is normal in friendship. And the last person here says, hi, Olive. Jealousy is not a bad thing inherently, but it sometimes becomes damaging when practiced. So I'm guessing you're saying when you react to this jealousy and probably sabotage or react negatively towards this friend that you're feeling jealous about. Maybe I don't have the right to speak on this topic, because honestly, in my heart of hearts, I don't even have friends like that. I have friends, guy, watanisikia waseme huku ni wapi. I do have friends, but I don't keep friends for long. So I think I've always moved, and then I've lived in my head for so long. But anyway, I'll explain what probably jealousy means to me. So I'm moving to slightly longer answers that I got from the prompts, and hey, let's get into it. See, someone says, ni kama Mungu alikutuma. All the topics you've been covering lately, I relate to or I am going through. Olive, all my friends have jobs and are getting jobs. Some are furthering their education. Meanwhile, there's me, still at home, dependent on my parents, and most times I'm always like, kwani why is nothing happening for me? I was becoming depressed. I just had to take on journaling. I truly am happy for them, and at the bottom of my heart, I know they deserve it. But most of the times I too am putting in the effort, sending applications out there, even for unpaid internships, but no positive feedbacks or even no feedback at all. I have cried. I have crowed. I have crew until finally I was like, if it's God's plans for me, if God's plans for me are that I become a stay-at-home daughter, was a stay-at-home daughter. I become a stay-at-home daughter, partner, mother. Whomst am I to fight it? I now am at peace that it will take time to be at par with them and decide to just be happy for them and not worry about things I have no control over. As long as I am fed, clothed, and housed, I am good. Don't I love it for you? Hey, Again comes in the comparison where you're comparing yourself to other friends. But I loved that you got to the point of contentment where you're just like, you can't be in a constant state of self-pity, self-loathe, comparison. Like, it's such a bad place to be. You're constantly depressed if you're in that state. So for you to get to a point where you're just like, imagine, I can't do this anymore. Let me rest. Maybe it is in God's plans for me to be what? To be a stay-at-home daughter, to be a stay-at-home partner. The stay-at-home daughter has got me. And what do? I'm a stay-at-home daughter. Anyway, another letter reads, it took me a minute, but reading articles and hearing people speak about it in this manner really helped me to be kinder to myself. I used to think I was a horrible person for feeling jealous of people close to me. Always so guarded up, I don't reveal myself, and it ate me up. But now I know for sure jealousy is an emotion, just like sadness when a friend dies. What you choose to do with it, now that's another thing. Jealousy has helped me pivot to different professional levels. Heck, I attribute making more money to jealousy. This was another article that solidified how I thought about it. So she sent an article with the message. I can link it up in the description. Sorry if this is TMI. The first time I felt really jealous of a close friend was when I introduced them to a professional contact of mine, and she ended up getting work that led to another role that she was able to buy a car within a year. It was that well paying, like in dollars. What made me jealous was that she did oversell herself, in quotes, lied on her CV. She always had this can-do spirit, not afraid to say yes all the time and try new things. I, on the other hand, was always very cautious, had low self-esteem, and really was at my comfort zone. This one jealous stint led me to say yes more, put myself out there professionally, and I acquired some new skills. I paid for professional courses. I learned by apprenticeship. 3 years later, I'm securing the bag and I owe it to jealousy. Love it. Here is a success story of what? Jealousy. But yeah, I loved this. I loved this because it was jealousy in the positive. And I've had an experience of the same, but now I was the friend who was out there and making it. I didn't even know I'm the friend who was out there and making it. Me, I just felt like I was not doing much. So that goes to tell you also, the people you think are all that, they're also struggling, thinking they are not all that. There's someone else who they're also thinking is all that. It's an endless chain. But yes, I was the friend who was very, I think for me it was situationships. That the idea of, let me tell you, when you don't know where you're going to sleep tonight, hey, being aggressive is not an option. So for me, I think that is what used to propel me. I just used to be like, I need it. I'll need to sell myself. I'll need to talk to people. I am introverted, yes, but I will need to put myself out there. And I never said no to anything. I was, can you build a house? I'm like, yes. I go and Google at night how to build a house. Tomorrow in the morning, I wake up and start layering the blocks. I never said no. And a friend of mine just the other day when we were catching up, she was like, you know, she literally said it. She said, I used to think that you're such a mean person or you're such a bad person for always following things, like being aggressive about getting things. But she was like, the minute she started doing that for herself, it was a game changer. Mind blown. She was like, all you needed to do is just be confident. What people require of you is not impossible for you to do. It's something you can learn. There's nothing under the sun that is impossible. Nothing comes inherently to us. Of course, some talents here and there, but nothing comes to someone naturally that they cannot learn. Okay? So I think in that essence, I was happy. It was such a wholesome conversation. And now we were talking at par because she was just like, Olive, like now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that, now I'm doing this. I am like, my mind is so open. I'm saying yes, I'm going, like, this has opened so many opportunities for me. And I loved it. And I love that we have a story that says that as well, that I was jealous. Yes, I was jealous because this friend of mine, and you know, sometimes when people are doing some things, you're also like, that is not ethical. It's not ethical. Why are they doing that? But then you realize, what do you mean by ethical? They are applying jobs and working in capitalist spaces. So you want to tell me the capitalist is way more ethical than the normal person who's lying on their CV that they've done a particular job? Yeah? So sometimes just introspect. You remember the other response that we read where someone said, take your time and understand, why is it you're feeling what you're feeling? Ask yourself, why is it you're feeling what you're feeling? Do you understand what it is you're feeling? And why are you feeling like that? And how do you want to react to that? Okay. So I love this. I loved this story. When it comes to that little envy that just, it jumpstarts you so that you're just not here always sleepy. But experiences are different because there are people who are genuinely trying and they're just not breaking through that roof. And I understand that timelines are different. And I swear, I always say that as much as things have worked out for me, I know that I have put in the work. I always say I know that I've put in the work. But I know the aspect of luck plays a huge deal. I know there was the aspect of me being there at the right time, just in the right place. There was just that aspect of probability that I had that someone else didn't have, because I feel like everyone who I have probably contested an opportunity with, I feel like they were worthy of that opportunity as well. I feel like they were qualified. I feel like they were competent. They deserved the opportunities that I got. I was just as good a candidate, but just because I got the job does not mean that there was something that they were lacking. It's just there is an aspect, there's an aspect of an X factor somewhere that I can't place. And that's why I also I'm very careful not to feel like, you know, when your friend things are not going through for your friends, there's usually the aspect of feeling like, are they trying hard enough? Have they applied enough jobs? Are they looking around? And that's usually such a bad thing for other friends to express to someone who's not getting opportunities. It's such a horrible thing, because let me tell you, I promise you that person is not sleeping. They are looking, they are having sleepless nights thinking about where will they get the next opportunity. So the idea of being condescending in the sense that you feel like they're not doing enough. They are. I believe they are. So there's usually the aspect of probability, but I feel like people who put themselves out more that probability becomes higher. If you're a bit more aggressive, that probability becomes higher. There's the aspect of believing. If you're into believing, someone said they got into journaling, which is a good thing because now you've tried everywhere. You're just like, okay, let me start by understanding my emotions. We can start from somewhere, okay? So I think that's a very beautiful. I loved this one. I can't lie. Another response I got. This person said, this is a short one. For so long now, I have this friend of mine. I would sometimes feel jealous and compare my life to his. I noticed it is only hurting me. Hide ID, please, and say hi to future Mama Olive. Future Mama Olive, you're becoming a celebrity. You're becoming a celebrity here. But yeah, again, it boils down to you had to figure out what you want to do with this feeling. And I love that for you. I love people who recognize. Let me tell you, if there's something that will put you out of a lot of messy situations, is self-awareness. When you're able to recognize immediately what is your trigger, what are you feeling, how can you deal with it. Once you're very self-aware, oh my goodness, you will experience none to zero, close to zero messy situations. So I love this for you. Comparison is usually where the problem begins. The minute you start looking at the comparison, that way. And this is where the phrase, the saying, ignorance is bliss came from. What you don't know cannot kill you. Have you ever been, I've had this a couple of times. I'm not sick. I'm just feeling like a symptom. And you just feel like a headache or like a stomach ache. I remember last year it was by the way, it's my 1 year anniversary of wearing glasses. So last year, exactly in September, I started having a headache, right? And I was just having headaches. I'd take a painkiller and go about my day. But the minute I visited the hospital, now it becomes bad. Now you cannot sleep. Your headache becomes bad. So this is where I think ignorance is bliss came from. What you don't know cannot hurt you. What you just do not, what is it called? What you don't shugulisha yourself with will not affect you in any way. Because why I realized I also live a very blissful life is because I'm never aware of what other people are doing. If you don't do it in front of me or you come and tell me you've done it, I want to know. I'm not in people's business trying to find out what they're doing. But when I'm keeping up, like when I catch up with some people, you find out they're very stressed. And I'm like, you are stressed because you're keeping up with too many people. Sijui who's going through what. Sijui who's going through what. You're always trying to figure out who's doing what, where. And I think that's a lot of energy that you're dispensing there that you could have been investing in yourself. Even if opportunities are not coming through for you, imagine that time you'd have used to read a book, to meditate, to sleep, to cook. I just feel like do something for yourself. The minute you start looking through things to find out what other people are into, you will forever be disturbed because people are always up to a lot. And right now with the digital space, woe unto you. I repeat, woe unto you if you're literally looking at people on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter and thinking, oh my goodness, they've made it. Woe unto you. You will die of stress. Yours, what is it called? Your postmortem will read stress. And there's nothing you will do. Yeah, so be very careful about it. I got mail and I'm going to get into it right now so that we can also close up this podcast episode with my final experiences. Anyway, I got mail and it says, hey, it's been quite a while. Hope uko sawa. I'm doing good. Have you even seen me today? I'm glowing. But anyway, for me, I'm kind of an introvert, so I have a small group of friends that makes me want to socialize more to get away from them. You said, this group I don't want. If I have to be an extrovert to get new people, I will have to. They have strange personalities. That's the next statement. Let me tell you, this email is not helping. They have strange personalities. They have strange personalities, which for me isn't good. I got a job that required me to move from Nairobi. When I told them, I somehow lost the job. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I didn't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. Okay. They told me that I'd forget them when I moved. I even knew you're laughing in this email. You know how ridiculous it sounds, right? I'd forget when I moved. Okay, that you'd forget them if you moved, okay? I'm still young and tried understanding their perspective or what they saw, and I still can't figure it out. These are the same friends that want the soft life, that you wish them success in their endeavors, but that's not reciprocated back to you. So I have started cutting them off. Honestly, I can't blame them since they are still living with their parents and I have my own place. Oh, so that's where the jealousy you think is coming from, okay? But to them, everything seems to be a competition with the mentality that I have to make it before he does. I have to achieve something before he does. What really set the trigger was my mom got a job in the States, which requires us to relocate when she does or after she relocates. So I broke the news to this same lot expecting a different reaction. Lord, it escalated so fast. I wish I could have that energy to hang around with them anymore. I don't know what you meant there, but sadly that energy died that moment. Also, you were wishing for more energy to hang out with them, but the energy was just not giving. So lesson, grab your ear, okay? Let's do this practically. Lesson, grab your ear. Pull it real hard. I have an earring. I can't pull it that hard. Pull it hard before sharing your good news to people who you think care, but actually don't. Salimia future Mama Olive too. Mama Olive, hi. Wait, when are we getting our baby showers? Well, me and this your friends, they claimed you will forget them if you moved. But anyway, the idea of having your own place when your friends still live with their parents, I experienced that when I moved out into my own house when I was 23. And there was a lot of, those undertones, those subtle undertones. Just when you talk to your former classmates, there's just like, I don't know. It was just very weird. It was very weird. I couldn't even share anything I was doing in my life. It just felt like Olive feels like all that. Just because she moved out of home, she feels like all that. Like Olive is affording life, she feels like all that. And let me tell you, I think when I began this podcast, those people I was talking to that time started talking to me and just telling me, where? And the way as you were thinking you were out here thriving, I was in the pits. You think I'd come to social media and post my pits? We don't do that here. We only post the glam, right? So, well, these days I can post the pits. These days I don't care. But at the time, when you're having a good time is like when you have the energy to post anything. When you're struggling out here looking for your last penny to eat that day, you think you'll post that on social media, right? So I think they were just using social media to gauge how my lifestyle is going. And to them, the fact that I'd moved out of home so early, I had a job. I remember there's a friend of mine who I told, I was trying to tell, at the time I couldn't even talk to anyone. I was trying to tell them that the job I got, the sales job that I got was so shitty. But at the time, I just started by saying, the place I work, they pay me this much. And this person immediately said, you're lucky you have a job. So when someone says that, you literally cannot continue to share. At this point, they've already said you're privileged. And you complaining makes you just spoiled. You're not so it was really difficult for me to even say that I'm working in a toxic place. I'm literally weighing 46 kgs. I'm not getting paid enough. It's not worth it. You can't say all these things because you have a job. Olive, you can't talk and you have a job. Even if the job is cleaning up human shit from their ass, you have a job. Don't talk. So I understand how the feeling of a little jealousy could get in there. And it's hectic. It's hectic you can imagine it's hectic for you who's feeling jealous. But can you imagine how it is for even the person who you think has made it? And probably they also have their struggles. And you're invalidating them by virtue of they've made it. They're in a better off situation than you. You see how sometimes you could be sharing a struggle and people are just like, but you've made it. What I don't understand is the idea of you sharing your success. What is it called? That you got a new job. You shared with your friend that you've gotten a new job and then the job abruptly ended. So here's the thing. Me, I've always not shared anything until the final product. Until even when I get a job, I'm there for like a couple of weeks before you see me now updating at the sijui I work here. I am and for me, it's not so much jealousy. I don't think anyone can take it away from me. For me, it's just the laziness. I'm very lazy to start explaining to people what happened. Okay, so now I got a job at In All Honesty podcast. Okay, and then 2 weeks later, it shows I'm not at In All Honesty podcast again. Now I have to explain to you what happened at In All Honesty podcast. Is this for me? It's just the laziness. I don't feel like I want to explain that, and in some sense, okay, I can explain it here because we're even at the end of the episode. In some sense, I used to feel like there are people who were anticipating, like when you're sharing a negative experience that has happened to you, you can almost feel the happiness inside, even if it's masqueraded with, oh, I'm so sorry, oh my goodness. If you need any support, you can tell deep down they can't wait to get out of here and just go say, I had Olive, Olive has happened, this has happened to her. If you listen to the last episode of Just Another Podcast, it's another podcast I host with Aloma Abaki. The last episode we were talking about, what were we talking about? Is it cons? No, it was something else. But anyway, whatever topic we were talking about, I mentioned that I used to feel like you cannot talk about at the time when I got conned, it was actually a con story. At the time, there's a time when I got conned. I still believe it's not a con story, but anyway, there's a time I got conned, and when I was sharing the story, I sensed some happiness from the people I was sharing it with. And it was just like, oh, finally, you've been conned. And I was like, I don't know what a celebration is about. Why are you always just waiting for me to get conned? It was very, very, I felt like it's always been a very wild thing for me. And I've always felt the same thing when I'm sharing, like, say, success stories. You feel an undertone of, it hasn't worked out as well as it was supposed to, right? And these days I'm just like, find out when you'll find out. If you're not someone who's directly involved with that project, just find out when you'll find out. I'm not gonna come here and celebrate it with you. But anyway, let me get into the two incidences that made my life. In those incidences, I felt like I was jealous and I wasn't very proud of myself. And there's someone here who's mentioned, the person who shared the article, they've mentioned that jealousy has always been sold to us as such a negative thing that if you dare feel it, you feel filthy, you feel unworthy, you feel like a bad person, right? So for me, it was the same. So I had two incidences. The first incident happened when I was working somewhere. So I was new, I'd come in. And as much as I am humble, I'm a very humble girl. But I know the things extremely good at. So while working at this place, I was very good at this particular job. Let's call it writing. Okay. I was really good at writing. But now there's someone who I found there who was already like the lead writer, like the editor, right? So I found the editor, and the editor was also a girl, and there were many men in that office. I think it was me and her actually. Yeah, it was me and her. Other girls actually joined later. So it was just me and her. And I came in first as an intern and then got promotions here and there. So as I'm looking to grow in this space and also like become an editor, this one time I was just like, so I don't know if maybe I don't know how I interpreted it. But that day I asked her, how did you become an editor? Like, how did you get to where you are? Because I really want to be there. I want to be an editor like you. And she said, it was just luck. I think it was just luck, honestly. It was just luck. And I was just like, that is very vague and it's not helpful. And I remember feeling a feeling of, she has these things and she's not as good as me. She's not as good a writer as me. And I feel like that was a feeling of jealousy. Me to date, I feel like I was jealous of that girl, that she's gotten the position that I wanted so badly. And at the time, she was good. She was good at her job. But at the time, I also felt like, no, she's not as good as I am. Why did she get the job? And why? And when I ask her, she's giving me a vague answer like it was luck. What the hell is luck? Anyway, later on, I've come to learn that luck actually plays a part. And now looking back, I realized that it actually could have been luck. She could have been at the right place at the right time. And in that moment, she's the one who got that opportunity. So I've learned it over time. I am a better person now. But she was not a very close friend. It's just someone who I talk to, even up until now. It's just like on and off, because I don't even have like close friends that I keep up with all the damn time for years over. So she's one of those people who are in my life at that time. And I remember feeling that stint of guilty, that stint of jealousy. And I was like, I'm a horrible person for feeling like this. Anyway, number 2 was this friend who I was with, like we've been through different stages in life together. So then there's this point, I think we parted ways for a little bit, like 2 minutes. I swear to you, it was 2 minutes. And she tells me she's bought a car. The next time I hear about something, she's talking about a car. And I'm like, oh, you bought a car? How did you buy a car? Like, what was the process? How did you get to buying a car? Because I actually went and looked up. At the time, I can say I was jealous. Because I actually heard of the car and went and found out what car it was. And then went online to Google and figure out what car it was and find the cheapest version of that car. And even finding the cheapest version of that car was just like, this is impossible money to have at our age. And so when I asked her, so how did you get to buy a car? She just said savings. How do you save 2 million, Bob? Please help me. How do you save 2 million, Bob? The last time I checked, you haven't changed jobs and we worked for right about the same salary. I was just like, I remember feeling, surely. I remember feeling so bad. And the fact that the vague answer again, it triggered the one for the editorial job again. As that vague answer for, just save. Even if I were to save 50k every month, like, what are you telling me? Just save. But anyway, I got over it. I realized, I don't know. But then after that, I became very keen on, maybe it's a trauma. This is a way of, when I respond to traumas by overcompensating. So I know that since I felt that way about being given a vague answer about something that I was so passionate about or something that I really wanted to learn and know how to do, I am very keen to never give vague answers to people these days. Like, if you ask me for something, I'll try and give you the most helpful answer. The most helpful answer possible. I don't gatekeep. I'll just try and give you the most helpful answer. You see how you can go help yourself. The idea of feeling like that and then being given some vaguest answer, you're just like, Sasa, surely. And can you share how you saved? How, like, Sako? I just need a little detail. And I feel like because I needed that from those people, and they don't owe it to me. No, by the way, remember that. The next time you want to ask someone for something, remember that they don't owe it to you, even if they're your friend. If you ask them for how they got a particular thing, they don't owe it to you. That's your personal problem. But if they decide to share the actual steps with details, then it's good. If they don't, imagine they don't owe it to you. You go find out for yourself. But those were my two very, what is it called? The evident incidences of jealousy. I think those two were it for me, because I just remember feeling, hey, Olive, this feeling you're feeling is not good. I've also explained that I also have been the receiver of people who are jealous of me. And this is because there's two things I'll always recognize. One, I'm a lucky girl. A lot of things. I fall upon luck. Like I was born for it. I fall upon luck. Like me, I'm telling you, is crazy. One, I'm a lucky girl. And because of being a lucky girl, I've lived a privileged life. So I know that there are situations where I get things, and it's not things that other people get easily. So I do recognize that. And one, I don't rub it in people's faces. I'm not mean to people. And two, I don't expect much of people. I don't expect people to be there to help me celebrate my wins. And this is because I know how it feels like when you're in a space where things are not working out for you, and you're supposed to be happy for this friend of yours who's like signed 10 deals, and you're just trying to get an internship role. Yeah. You feel like, you see like the person who shared that all their friends are out here getting opportunities and all that. And honestly, she's waking up in the morning, she's being aggressive, she's sending out applications, she's doing all she can, and it's just not coming through. And let me tell you, when me, I've bought a car, I've started a business, the business has flourished, and you're just trying to get one job. You're just trying to get one sponsor to give you capital for your business, and none of it is coming through. And you can imagine, I've called you for my baby shower, I've called you for my business shower, I've called you to celebrate my car, I've called you to celebrate how I bought property, I've called you to celebrate how I'm jengaing my house, I've called you. And at this point, you've not called me for anything because nothing has come through for you. How am I convinced that you should come consistently and consistently be happy for me? It's not fair. It's not fair to humans. Me, I understand. It's not fair to humans. So I feel like if you're having a streak of successes, be very keen with the friends around you who are not experiencing the same. Extend them grace. And by extending them grace does not mean that you help them specifically. Extending grace is as easy as just telling them, I have this thing I'm celebrating. You really do not need to come. Like, you don't need to feel happy for me or like that. Or rather, you can just leave them out. Leave them out of that information all the same, because what do you want them to do? You can save them that grace. You can also just tone down on the judgment. I know, as someone who at some point didn't have anything working out for me, and a lot of people around me were just like, have you applied? Have you gone? Are you aggressive? You can't be an introvert. Like, a lot of people are giving you solutions that you've already tried as if you haven't. So usually when you don't have, people can be very invasive with advice. They're just like, you're not trying hard enough. And at some point you feel people will get tired of you. And if you're the person who your timeline yet has not aligned with success yet, or rather your timeline is lagging behind a little, just learn that it's okay to draw yourself away from situations that might trigger you to feel bad about yourself. It's okay for you to say, imagine I'm not coming to that celebration. It will make me feel some type of way. And also, I cannot be happy for you the way you require to be happy. The way your friends should be happy for you. I can try, I can fake it, but to what end? I genuinely feel happy for you. Wherever I am, I'm wishing you the very best. But I'm not going to put myself in that situation that makes me feel shit. And then at some point also, I'm going to drag you down with my mood. So I think it just has to be a delicate balance for friendships. Especially, it has to be a delicate balance. For someone like me who probably doesn't have consistent friendship links, probably it's easier because I can move from place to place and I'm not there to experience people through the entire seasons. These people are also not here to experience me through all my seasons. So whatever season you find me in, if you find me struggling, you'll know me as a struggler. If you find me in the season of thrive, you'll know me as the person who thrives. If you find me, whatever season you find me in, I think for me who moves from friendship to friendship, it's easier. For other people who probably have a close-knit circle, people who thrive in like a network of friendship, just realize that your timelines will not always align. So you have to be very aware and careful of the people around you. Also, while I'm talking about this, I'm being very love and light about it. Just be careful about malicious people as well. People who are not happy for you masquerade as the closest people to you. They could be family, they could be friends. So just keep clear of that, because I've found myself in situations where I'm such friends with someone and later on when clarity comes to you, you look back and you're like, hey, does this person really want good for me? Or sometimes you share something with them and the enthusiasm does not match. You see, like, and for me, it's not the idea of where it's imbalanced. It's the idea of where we're at the same place. So you find that, let's say I already bought a house, right? So I bought a house before you, but when you buy a house, you don't see me feeling as excited. I'm not as elated as, we are now friends who both own houses. No, there's a feeling of as if I wanted to be the one who's remaining with her. I wanted to be the only one in this friendship with a house. So be very careful of the frenemies as well. They are definitely masquerading as your besties, as your family, as your sister, as your brother, as your boys, as the person who's got you. Just be very careful with the people around you as well. So you can extend love and light. But I guess here you will really need the gift of discernment to know when to practice grace and when to just remove yourself from a situation where it's toxic. Like the person who sent me mail, you and those friends of yours, how is someone telling you, Ati, when you leave, Ati, you will forget us, and that is a reason for them not to be happy for you? Me, I don't understand some things though. Anyway, this was a shorter topic than the ones we've had before. We're on the second last episode of the season. Season 3 is coming to an end. Next week will be our last episode. Watch out for the last prompt on Thursday this week. Today is Monday. So this week, Thursday, we'll have our last prompt. And then we'll close down season 3, take a break for maybe 4 to 6 weeks. That's enough time. We will have come back for Christmas. And it will be a good time. I'm feeling overwhelmed as this season is coming to an end. It's been such a beautiful one. But anyway, we'll catch up again next week. Thank you for being here. Again, I am because you are. I've been because you be. I am so grateful. Description in the details. My fabulous name is Oliver Rao. This has been another beautiful episode of the In All Honesty podcast. And until next week, please do take care of yourself, wear sunscreen, and hydrate. Bye.